Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Game Pass Library. This is Unto the End. Now, the way that I do these streams is I will take a suggestion from viewers from the Game Pass Library and stream the game after playing it for a minimum of an hour to get familiar with the mechanics of the game, some goods, others, greats, cool bits. And once I'm comfortable with the game, then I'll come back and stream it as an episodic addition to the series. So this game was suggested by one of the streamers, goes by the name of Elden Genius. If you'd like to jump over to Elden Genius's stream, please do so. Support the community as it grows. And if you jump into one of my live streams at any time, I highly encourage you and request that you drop a Game Pass Library title in the chat and ask me to stream that game, and I'll add it to my queue of games to be streamed. So Unto the End. I'd like to read something from the designers. Unto the End is a defense-first, let me say that correctly, a defense-first combat experience. You play an average warrior trying to get back home to your family. You're less powerful than every creature you meet. You can drop your sword, run out of supplies, and bleed to death. Fighting is demanding and deliberate, but not your only option. Success is about being observant and staying calm. An adventure off the beaten path. Now that last part is just something I added. And it does come a little bit from comments made on their website. If you go over to the team, it's a small team, Sarah and Steven, 2 Ton Studios, published by Big Sugar. If you go to their website and you look at their debut, this is their debut game. And it is, just as I have read here, it is a game that demands your attention. Just like a Souls-like or Bloodborne, Sekiro. You can die very easily in this game. So real quick, I want to go to settings and bring the volume down to right about there. That'll be good. Now, it's hard not to spoil parts of this game. Just watching it being played is spoiling the game. So I have to be very delicate and not trying to tell you everything, because learning is a part of this game. It does not handhold. It gives you little ideas of what you should do, but as it said at the very beginning, fighting is demanding and deliberate, but not the only option. Success is about being observant and staying calm. So don't lose your cool, because you will lose your cool in this game. You will die fairly easily. Now, I am by no means an expert at this game, and this is not a review of Unto the End. But more a look at what you can expect. You can drop your sword. And let me show you something that often happens to me. As you explore, and highly recommend that you do so, this is your menu. It's very clean. It's very minimal. And I have found that exploring inside of this will sometimes help. You can craft things at a bonfire, a campsite, if you will. You always have the ability to craft a bone dagger should you lose it. And if you ever can't find your torch, and again, you can leave things behind. If you ever can't find your torch, maybe you just need to light it. So as we come up here on this door, you'll see that there's a little bit of a highlighted segment there. Now, I thought rolling into it would open it. But there are other ways. But you can notice that I've left behind both my sword, my torch, and if I wanted to, I could throw and leave behind my knife and my dagger, and then continue on my way with nothing but myself. But we don't want to do that. Don't leave anything behind. Don't leave anything unexplored. Now, the overall story is you're a warrior trying to get back home. How long have I been gone? Who knows? That's for you guys to decide or to discover, if you will. Now, again, this in and of itself is going to be a spoiler hour. Again, I'm going to try to play for an hour. I'm not going to try to push through too fast because I might hit something that you might not want to see. But at any time, I'll say spoiler, and you can look away and maybe discover it for yourself later. Because part of what this game is the discovery. So, there's a spoiler coming up here, so if you'd like to look away or turn down your volume, I'd do so now. Again, another spoiler. If you don't want to understand how the progression is made here. Look away now. Turn down your volume if you need to. Now, the game is all about trial and error. Failing will happen, and it'll happen a lot. As I said before, there's very little hand-holding. As you're going about the area, you want to make sure that you search. And as I said before, you want to make sure that you also explore. If there's something that doesn't quite seem to work, try everything. This is actually a very, very hard game to not spoil. The combat is all about blocking. They say that it's all about defense and the direction that you defend. But there can also be instances that you might want to try something a little bit different. Defense, and again, this could be spoiler. This is very spoiler heavy. And it's not massive things, but it's even the combat and the way that you engage in combat can be a spoiler. That's the intricate little bit of adventure in this and the discovery of this game that is hard not to spoil. Every action that I take, every choice that I make, every method that I use could spoil the way that you approach this game. Now, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, and I don't think you're going to be losing anything. To know that you can pick up your torch, you can lay down your torch, you can throw your dagger, you can pick up your dagger. There's going to be areas to where, and I've said this before, it doesn't look like you can go any farther, but just try to push to the right. There might be an instance to where you can push through. And then it is so hard not to spoil things. I think the biggest advice I can give when you're starting out: interact with everything, try everything, observe everything, explore everywhere. There may be clues right in front of you when you may not have been able to see it, or may not even have been expecting them to be there. I love the lore of this game. It is very subtle. Um, you have a lot of discovery through play. Play the game to discover what it is that the game has to offer. In the realms of supplies, now you will have supplies that you collect. So that's where coming into new locations and you see something that might be on the ground, search it. Um, the empty bottle is something that we'll come across here later. We already talked about the torch, and the dagger. If you can't make it up the first jump, you'd have the ability to clamber up. All right, there is a spoiler here. This is a pretty big spoiler. So if you don't want to see this, this is another instance where you may want to look away. If you're still interested and still intrigued, and none of this is really making too much of a dent into your experience, if you decide to move forward with Unto the End. As you can see, I can make a tonic if I have enough herbs. Now I have a tonic that I can use. I can improve armor if I have these supplies. I can heal my wounds from falling if I have the right amount of supplies. Now, this one here is going to be a spoiler. It is 100% going to be a spoiler. But if you don't care about spoilers, I do want to show you this because it's pretty cool. The open fields, you're back at home. I'm picking up a practice club, tossing my knife for no reason. And you'll notice two people here on the left. This is where you're trying to get back to. You're trying to get back home. You might notice there's markings here on this rock. I'm sure you can determine what those are on your own. Try to pick up my knife here. All right. So this is a tutorial in combat. The execution of it is very, very subtle, and it lends itself well to the overall story. And I think it's a very important piece. A very important piece. So we're going to go ahead and draw our sword, and we're going to practice. You have to do this a couple of times, just so that you can get comfortable with the combat. High attacks. Everything I'm doing here, everything I'm doing is something that you should consider as you're playing the game. And I almost only want to make this a 30-minute stream because so much can be spoiled. But I'll try to go slow, and I'll try to talk about the things that I've discovered, the feelings that I get from this game. Just in and of itself, this scene is very spoiler heavy. And it's great when I came across this my first time. So, as I continue to practice here, I did the turnaround there. All right, so combat, as you could see, it's a very defense first, but that's not all. There's a high-low attack. There's a riposte, swapping sides. Very important. If you can remember those things as you're playing this game and kind of have that as a mantra, and again, as we had spoken about before, make sure that you interact with everything, try everything, observe everything, explore everywhere. Don't think that something that you learned before is going to work in every occasion. Pretty much the way that the game goes is that you're just moving forward. Again, you're trying to get back home. And another thing I could probably tell you is remember, you're trying to get home alive. Hopefully some of these things that I've said so far give you an indication of how this game is going to go. And you see this very small kind of area of the screen that is being displayed as the game space. It does a very good job of directing the player's attention and helping you understand how confined the space is. It does a very good job of letting you feel the space you're in. All right, spoiler coming up. Look away. I have fairly enjoyed the audio of this game. It has a very strong emphasis on the ambience, what it is that you're listening to. There's a constant, also heavy breathing that the character has. Spoiler. Again, pretty much consider every step that I'm taking a spoiler. Okay, so from this point on, spoiler heavy. You've been warned, but if you'd like to continue watching, and if at this point you haven't seen what makes the game what it is, you're going to get spoilers. 100% going to get spoilers. I mean, if I was to just to make a comment, because again, I feel every step that I take is going to spoil the game. So I can take it a little bit slower with a game like this. Because of that lack of hand holding that we talked about before, discovery is the greatness of how we play and how we learn. If you do not give everyone the answers, the ability of our human mind to learn new ways to face challenges and get through fear, because we've learned that and we've grown new, I don't know, pathways in our brain. We've developed a way of thinking, and eventually it will help us think on the spot. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and I know the upcoming Elden Ring. Games like this that do not tell you everything that you need to do and expect a lot of trial and error. There are clues to limit the amount of trial and error that you face, but there have been instances in this game where I have spent an entire hour or more in a single encounter trying to figure it out. Whether or not that be puzzle, whether or not that be finding my direction, whether that be combat. And I've had multiple instances of this. It could also just be my base skill level. You know, being able to respond to a specific challenge. I'm not saying I'm omnipotent, but knowing certain things about the game once you've played to a certain point, now you know what it is that you need to do. But again, having already seen something doesn't mean it has to be done that way every time. Again, what you think you need to do may not be what you need to do. I like these little subtle details too. You can see that the character's taken some injury, and there's a little bit of blood. The character can die. The character can bleed out. You do have the ability to heal, like we were back at that campfire, and I was able to concoct a tonic. But even the snow on his gear, like if I roll, I pick up some snow, and then if I move back and forth, that snow kind of comes off. Let's try that again. If I roll, I pick up some snow. As I walk, it comes off. If I block up and down, the snow comes off. Very subtle little details. I mean, this sense of real darkness, it reminds me of Limbo and Inside. All right, combat. There's different ways to go about this. These things can kill you. They are just as formidable as you are. They have just as much ability to kill you as you have to kill them. Now, again, I've restarted the game. And by the way, you can do it anytime yourself, too. You can start the game over at any time. You feel like you're stuck and you don't know where it is that you need to be going and you want to start again, you can start over at any time. And I have. A couple of goods I've talked about. I'm going to talk about very subtle others. They're not bads, they're just others. There are instances to where I will be having a combat, and this foreground parallax, you can kind of see I'm being blocked by something that's in the foreground. It gives it a very claustrophobic feel, but there are times where I have been fighting an enemy, and I'll get back into this area, and maybe I'll get... there's a specific timing of a block that I want to do, or a thrust that I want to do, or I don't know where the enemy's at. And this has sort of been one of those things, like, I wish that in combat, maybe not while I'm just exploring, but in combat, it would be nice if these things went a little bit transparent. And there are instances in the game to where the designers did that. They made the foreground objects transparent so I could see my character. I'm not sure why they didn't choose to do that during combat. And again, it's very subtle. And there are also instances where you could be in an instant loop of death. But if that ever happens, if you ever get into an instance where you feel like, I have no way forward, remember what I said. Say the mantra in your head anytime that you need to. Interact with everything. Try everything. Observe everything. Explore everywhere. Like they said at the very beginning, fighting is demanding and deliberate, but not your only option. Success is about being observant and staying calm. Stay calm. Please stay calm. Yeah, I think overall, that endless loop of death is probably because you haven't tried something. All right, we're about 30 minutes into the stream. I'd like to kind of push, again, I'm pushing forward slowly because, again, every step I take, every jump that I take, every direction that I choose could spoil the eureka moments of this game. Death. Instant. Now, something about the reloading. The reloading is instant. At least it is for Xbox Series X. And that's what I'm playing on right now. Death can be instant. And when you reload, the game has generous checkpoints. And it is a checkpoint-based system. Now, if you thought it was a Dark Souls-like because I was comparing it to a difficulty and the way that you learn things through experimentation, failing is learning, that kind of thing, you don't respawn at the campfire. You respawn at a specific checkpoint that the game has determined. But when you respawn at the health level you were at when you hit that checkpoint. Now, I'm not fully healed. I have taken some damage. You can see the blood on the warrior's clothing and on his head. And again, if I wanted to heal that, I could go in and drink a tonic. And I'm not quite sure how the tonic removes the blood from his clothing, but make sure you always keep your torch with you. But again, it will save and respawn you at the checkpoint at what level of damage you've taken when you hit that checkpoint. So remember that as well. I don't really have any poor executions of anything. I don't have any crashes. I don't have any bugs. I don't have anything that was preventing me from moving forward. We talked about how the interface menu is very simple, very clean. I like the graphic, the iconography here is very clean. Um, I mean, I even get, and I take notes as I learn these games. And the feelings that I've gotten out of this are from Flashback, Out of This World, Limbo, and Inside, those types of games. Um, it's heavy in story and it doesn't tell you everything. You learn by playing, you discover by playing. There is not a lot of tutorial, there's not a lot of hand holding, and that speaks volumes for a way a game can be designed. And again, this is an indie game. The designers, two people, Sarah and Steven. If you're listening, great job. I have been having a wonderful time with this game. I hope that it never ends. And again, as I've said multiple times, spoilers for every step I take. Every step I take, every move you make. Okay, now you can see here, look, there's a little bit of transparency through this object. Now, I don't know if that's trying to simulate some type of glass, but that's what I wish they would do for combat when you get behind here, because it's kind of hard to see when you may be fighting an enemy and you have this foreground image covering up most of the screen. Death comes to us all. I don't think I'm going back that way. And I don't know if anybody can pick this up while they're watching it via whatever medium they've chosen, whether or not this be the uploaded YouTube or if they're watching it off of Twitch, if they're watching it on TV, if they're watching it on a mobile device, if they have headphones, if they have just the regular speakers from the device. There's a very subtle hum. I don't know, have you ever? I would highly recommend going out and checking a graphic novel called Hate, Hate, Hate. Um, a very graphic novel, but very subtle in the way that it tells its story, not hand holding you through the entire experience. It's a great story, one that you can flip through the pages multiple times and pick up on little nuances. This game is full of nuances and things that you need to discover just by observing. And as they said at the very beginning, they said it at the very opening credits, success is about being observant and staying calm. Keep saying that to yourself, and you may get through this game by not losing too many lives. But there's a subtle sound, the echoes in the caverns, the fire, the crackling of the torch, the deep breathing of the main character. Spoiler, every step of the way. I think I've left behind my torch. I'll let you discover what may or may not be down that tunnel. uh, so I think this is where I'm going to call it a good end to this demonstration of Unto the End. I don't want to spoil this next section for you, so I'm going to let you guys discover that one on your own. I would like to say, if by chance, and this is a small chance, if by chance the developers of this game, the designers of the game, Sarah, Stephen, I would like to congratulate you on a job well done. This game has its hooks deep inside my psyche. I have enjoyed trying to get through this game. And I have gotten frustrated. I have gotten to the point like, what am I doing here? Like I said, I've spent an hour in a single encounter with a single enemy and couldn't understand for the life of me what I needed to do. I thought I had tried everything. But because it says it at the very beginning, and I'm going to read this again, because I think it's something very important to keep in mind. As anything in a game that requires your attention, your patience, and your time. Unto the End is a defense-first combat experience. You play an average warrior trying to get back home to your family. You're less powerful than every creature you meet. You can drop your sword, run out of supplies, and bleed to death. Fighting is demanding and deliberate, but not your only option. Success is about being observant and staying calm. And for my own, it's an adventure off the beaten path. Every step you take will be a learning experience. It's hard to stream a game like this because every step is a spoiler. Interact with everything. Try everything. Observe everything. Explore everywhere. And don't leave your torch behind. Don't leave your sword behind. Pick up resources wherever you can. There's probably going to be something that you may not have noticed that is giving you all the information you need to proceed. Death after death should be a learning experience. And if you can make it through with no hits and never dying, all the power to you. So thank you very much for watching this demonstration, this episode 16 in my Game Pass library series. This game isn't always going to be on Game Pass, so if you're watching this a year from now and Unto the End is not there, hopefully this still gives you some insight to what the game is all about. It has been an outstanding experience for me thus far. And I haven't experienced everything there is to offer. I've more likely rolled myself into a wall and lost my sword and torch more times than I've bested an enemy. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, the way that these streams work are, I would appreciate if you jump down into the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube and leave a comment for a game that you'd like me to stream from the Game Pass library. Get them while they're hot because they rotate out. And if you're watching any of my live streams, do the same. Jump in the chat, drop a game title in the chat, and I will add it to my queue of games to be streamed. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next video, and the next stream will be Haven, also from the Game Pass library. So episode number 17 will be Haven. I hope to see you there. Goodbye.